So these 7 things truly changed my life. I think they will for you too. And this is not a video I normally make, but maybe you just need to hear these things, and we'll go through them pretty quickly. They're all very, very different. So let's start with number 1. Being happy is not about what you achieve. It's about doing what you love every day. Okay? And I feel like that took me a long time to figure out. I feel like I first discovered it with my YouTube channel, because when I started making videos, I was having fun, I was happy, but in my brain, it was all about hitting that goal. Like, I wanted 100,000 subscribers. I wanted that plaque. That was the dream. If I ever hit that, my life would be made. And then I hit it. And then I was like, well, I want to hit 1 million subscribers. And then that's all I kept working towards, which was just stupid, because all along, I was just happy with actually creating content, coming up with video ideas, filming. Like, it was so fun. And it really doesn't make me happy when I actually achieve goals. It's what I'm doing that makes me happy. And once you realize that, it's just interesting. So that leads me to something that's not even one of my main points, and I've said this so many times on my channel, but if you are waking up in the morning and you're dreading going to work, you need to figure out a way to get out of that job. You only get one life to live. And if you're not doing what you love every day, I truly think you're never gonna be ultimately happy. Number 2, money doesn't make you happy either, which I feel like that is one that is said from time to time. Money doesn't buy you happiness, which is totally true. But I guess I want to throw in the video just because I do think it's important to recognize that money does in fact buy you freedom, security. It helps with anxiety, worry. I feel so bad sometimes when I complain about my teeth and like dental issues, because then I get people in my comments saying, I have really bad teeth too, but I can't afford to do anything or like to fix it. Or like, if I have some crazy infection, I can afford to go get my tooth pulled or get a root canal if I need one. You know what I mean? And there's people out there that have to suffer. So when people are like,
money doesn't buy you happiness,
I am like, I know that it doesn't. It's really those that you love and being around those that you love and doing what you love that is really about happiness. But money is also important. I don't think you need a lot of it. I don't think you need to be super, super rich. I just think it is a thing, and we shouldn't just act like it's not. But with that said, number 3 does involve making money, having a job. That is important, but I do not think it should be number 1 on your list. And I think a lot of people don't really think it is number 1 on their list. Of course, they're gonna put their kids and their family above their job, but do they really act that way? And I saw this photo once, I'll put it here on the screen. It says, 20 years from now, the only people that will remember you worked late or checked emails on the weekends will be your kids. And that really hit home for me. That took me back to my days when I worked in human resources. I worked in human resources for 12 years. And let me just tell you, I feel like I dedicated my life to that job. Like, I never called off. I could be on my deathbed. I would not call off. I wanted to be a good employee. I worked later than I needed to. And like, I would do stuff on the weekend sometimes. Like, it's stupid. It's stupid. Companies don't care about you. They don't care about you at all. They only care about making money. If you leave, they're going to replace you like that. So stop acting like it's number 1 in your life, even though I know you know it's not. But I feel like we need to be a good employee. We need to do our best. And then we need to sign off. We need to sign off and be done at 5 o'clock. Number 4, when you die, no one's going to remember your stuff. Insert photo. What's funny is some of these life-changing things I literally discovered from a random Facebook post, but I actually keep this saved in my favorites folder on my phone, but it basically just says no one's gonna remember your salary or like how much money you had, how busy you were, how many hours you worked, or how many Gucci bags you had, but they will remember how you made them feel. They'll remember, the time that you spent with them, if they could count on you, if you kept your word. Like, that's really what they'll remember when you die. So even put it to the test. Think back on a distant relative. Think back on somebody maybe from high school that passed away too soon. Your initial thought about them, I guarantee, is not,
man, they wore expensive jeans.
No, you think back on if they were a nice person, if they treated people well, how they made you feel. Like, that's what you actually remember. Number 5, listen to your gut instinct all the time. Okay, simple as that. Just listen to it. Our life is presented with so many choices, and I feel like we overcomplicate things when our gut always gives us the answer. And I'm talking even like business opportunities or like things are presented to me all the time, and I just immediately am like,
no.
I don't get good vibes from that. Moving on. I just quick. Same with relationships. It could be love interest. It could be a friendship. If you meet a friend and they're like just so nice, but they're always talking about people behind their backs, that's a gut instinct that you're like, oh, I don't know if I should I be friends with that? Listen to it. Move on. Same with a love interest. They could be
so cute, so hot.
But maybe there's some red flags there, but you just want to give them a chance. People can change, right? No. I mean, yes, but listen, if the gut instinct is there for a reason, you need to listen to it. Number 6. I feel like this one could get me a lot of hate, especially the moms out there. But your kids are not the most important. But hear me out. So this is what I'm trying to say. Your kids are going to grow up. They're going to grow up. They're going to move out. They're going to start their own life. They're going to have their own family. What you're going to have is your significant other, your husband or like your partner. Like that is who you're going to have. So to me, that actually is the number one relationship. I'm not saying your kids aren't important. They're so important. I'm just saying they ultimately are going to leave you, and that's just the truth. That's just what's going to happen. And so it's so important to make sure you can maintain your significant other's relationship. Like you need to put a lot of time, you need to put effort, you need to go away for a couple days without the kids. You need to make sure that that is continuing to grow and flourish. It's just so important because that's who you're going to be left with. And that's who you want to just make sure that relationship is good. Hopefully that makes sense. The next life-changing thing is to live for the line, not the dot. Now, maybe this will get me into some hot water too, because it does involve religion. I am a Christian. Now, I totally get there's so many people that are not. They don't want to hear about this kind of stuff. That's fine. If you're not into this, just skip it. However, some of you might be interested in this. Maybe you've even heard of this analogy before, which I saw years ago, and it just really stuck with me, and I just wanted to share it for those that haven't seen it before. But basically, again, it's to live for the line and not the dot. So the dot represents time on earth. Like, life is short. It's this little dot in the big scheme of things. It's just over before we know it. But the line coming from the dot represents life after death, which is eternity. It just goes on and on and on. That line goes on forever. And in the big scheme of things, that little dot of like earthly time, like that's nothing compared to eternity. And so we just need to kind of think about that when we're worried about something or we're going through life's problems. And don't get me wrong, sometimes the problems we're dealing with here, like it is a big deal. But again, in the big scheme of things, I'm not trying to preach a sermon here, but in the big scheme of things, it's really small compared to everything we have coming. So are these 13 shockingly impressive products really that important? No, but I still love filming these types of videos. It makes life fun. So I hope you took a few golden nuggets out of this one though. Comment your thoughts down below and I'll see you in this video next.